Hi guys, and welcome to my video. Today I'm focusing on the subject of drawing mosques. With the first sketch I did, I wanted to focus on drawing the outside of the mosque. With the sketch that I came across, I did add an extra dome into it. The reference photo didn't have that in, but I just wanted to fill up the page without having to add any more extra sketches in there, shall we say. I wanted it to be a simpler page because the last page I did with sketches in it in this particular sketchbook is just filled to the brim, and it can be kind of overwhelming to look at, so I wanted a simpler page, one that wasn't completely filled. When I was doing this sketch, I was focused on proportion, so I was measuring, and it did become very overwhelming by the end because there's a lot of different sections in the reference photo for this mosque. If you look at the minaret, for example, there's how many sections? I'm not looking at the drawing right now, but you'll be able to see that there's so many different areas where I would have had to measure to get right, and you can imagine how overwhelming that can be by the end. Then you'll see me do a very simple shading, which is using a blending stump to get the values. I'm not trying to do anything beautiful, I just wanted to get some quick shading to finish off the sketch so it doesn't look too dull, shall we say. Whilst I was going through the sketching process, I started to pay a lot more attention than I normally do to the artwork you get outside the mosques and also inside, but this reference is focused on the outside, so I'm not particularly bothered about the inside of mosques just yet. And because of the amount of time I had already spent sketching, I didn't want to then add in the very detailed patterns that were in the reference photo. So instead, I focused specifically on the type of artwork you get on mosques and just Islamic art in general with the second sketch. The second sketch focuses on a geometric pattern with Islamic art because the ruling on drawing, the main ruling anyway, before the exceptions come into play, is that we can't draw anything with souls. That includes humans and animals. So Islamic art historically doesn't include humans and animals, but it does include stuff like geometric shapes, flowers, landscapes, that kind of stuff. When you look at the geometric patterns, they are very particular in the shapes you have in them, the sizes, the symmetry in them. Getting it right is incredibly difficult, and from what I've seen, there's very little information out there on the traditional methods used to create the very accurate geometric art that you see on a lot of these buildings. There's very little information out there explaining how to get the very perfect, very accurate geometric art that you see in a lot of these mosques, especially the historic ones. However, you can still find tutorials online. These tutorials won't help us create the very accurate geometric patterns that exist based on the traditional method, which is, I guess, lost to us now, but at least we get to attempt to create the geometric art. I opted to try geometric art with this particular design first because I felt it was one of the easier tutorials I had found. I also wasn't trying to be super accurate, so I didn't have to burn my brain trying to get everything right. In the past, I wasn't interested in geometric art because just looking at it makes me feel dizzy a lot of the time. But after doing this geometric design and after drawing out the mosque and understanding that geometric art is very much a part of Islam and me being a Muslim, I guess you can say that I've developed an interest, and I may end up doing more videos on my learning process for this in the future. For now, I can say that I have developed an interest in it, a motivation for it, and I think that's a great starting point. The final sketch you'll see me inking in this video is of the Blue Mosque, a section of it anyway, and because my brain was still fried from doing all that measuring with that first mosque I drew, when it came to drawing the Blue Mosque, I decided to freehand the proportions as much as possible. I didn't tape the sketching process because I wanted to relax, and whenever I tape I feel like I have to do things quickly so that there aren't long breaks in the middle of the recording. So what you'll see is me doing the inks for that final sketch. And they are quite messy. I think by that point I was just losing my mind and wanted to get this topic out of the way. There's only so much I can draw on one topic at one time. Maybe at some point in the future I'll come back to it, but for now I think I've drained my mental resources and kind of need to move on to doing a simpler sketch for my next page of sketches, whether that's taped for YouTube or not. When I'm learning, I tend to try and learn things in a chronological order. So with this video, I focused on the outside of the mosque. And there were so many things that I could focus on the outside, which is why I just didn't have the time or the opportunity to draw the inside of the mosque. But just for the record, if you wanted, you could easily draw the insides of mosques to satisfy this sketchbook subject. If you are inspired by this video to draw anything mosque related, I would love to see your sketch on Instagram, so please do tag me on it. That's all I have to say for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time.